And we had a really interesting conversation as we began today. We kind of worked our way through all the empathic stuff, how many different types of empaths there were, maybe even a new empath coming online. I love that, around crystals. And then the next part of that was really starting to understand how easily we can connect in with our inner child. And we did the brain slide, which is always so much fun. And then the next part of that is we stepped into recognizing how easily we can actually connect by going in and out of the chakras with our little U's. And it was a little bit different than what I've done in the past. And I say that for the benefit of my beautiful co-host, Janice, my very, very important web person. What I mean by different in this is that there was a focus on what was the little you seeing in there, feeling in there. And that emotion part was the part that we're now reflecting back to the purpose of that chakra. So for instance, the root chakra is about grounding. It's actually about grounding the soul energy. The earth star chakra is grounding as well, but it's about the physical body grounding. So what came up in each of these areas, right? And that emotion and what it meant for us at this time. We're going to dive again into Al's just a little bit more, and Simone wanted to speak about hers. I know for myself, I was in the solar plexus, and in there I got, I just got a lot of emotions. And the solar plexus is that house, and it is the emotions, right? And I saw a swing moving in both directions and not liking it. I didn't like that I was swinging into that energy of the falling back in fear. I wanted to stay in the emotions of staying here. So what that means to me right now is my little you is feeling very pulled, and I can so totally attest to that because of these fires and the things that are going on in my family dynamics with senior parents. And so I'm really recognizing that I need to find some balance. I've got to find some way that I'm letting go of that stress, letting go of those emotions in a very different way than what I have been doing. So that was really interesting. So then Al had spoken about one of his grounding chakras and a term that came up specifically. And the word, he's been in a different culture. That's what I want to say. Thank you. He's been in a different culture, and in that culture they feel that they have the freedom to be, I want to use the words belittle or bully. They may not really recognize that that's what they're doing, but that is what they're doing, and they're calling him names. And in that calling him names, he's recognizing that he's soon going back to that same culture, that same continent, and what's coming up with that. So Al, did you want to kind of just springboard into that?
Yeah, it's just passive aggressive way of controlling population. That is what that's we have our own ways for our own things, but that was uh yeah, it's just calling just like coming and rub my belly and asking, how pregnant I am or if I'm fat. It's like and these are people who are comfortable with me. It's people I meet on the street, but within a few minutes they're comfortable enough to say it, and it's rampant in the society, right? Like I've probably had it like 7 or 8 times said to me by different people. So um, yeah, and I was just saying I was carrying that. I didn't have a filter for that because I'm not. It's not like people don't say things like that out here, but not like that. And it was just like I was actually happy I left when I left there because of that, and then I let go of it. And now that I'm going back, I see a part of me has been kind of the one in my earth chakra has been kind of carrying it for me.
Okay.
Yeah, like saying, here's all the hits I took, and time to heal it right now. So as we talk about it, there's healing happening.
Yes. And it was so interesting because you just said something that feels like this is a little bit of a clue to it. If a lesson, and I use the word lesson very, very loosely, Al and everybody else listening, okay? If the lesson isn't grasped the first time, second time, third time, whatever, it will come back around. So that's what I heard that time, is something about it. I'm here and now I'm going back and I have to deal with this again. So there's something in that energy of that as well.
Yeah. So that, I mean, that would be probably karma for me from past lives and how I grew up like that. But the lesson I get, like, we could go through different chakras because they tell me, and I know it takes a long time to go through all that, but uh the lesson was like from my sacral is like, I thought you forgot about me. And I'm like, no, I did not forget. Right. So it's like you're doing things at the level you're at, but they're taking some hits for me until I heal and grow out of it. That's kind of what I got when you were talking.
Okay. And it's really interesting because as you're talking, and again, I want just everybody to kind of pay attention to what's happening here. It's because we're having a conversation. You can sit and stew about this, and it's on a whole different level. But because we're putting stuff out there, I don't know if you guys really, okay, let me put it this way. Al, are you open to this, first of all? Whatever this is?
Whatever. I mean,
Okay.
I'm open to healing. So whatever
Okay.
it is.
So you guys are witnessing a very unique situation here right now. Um, Al and I are very similar in that things drop in very rapidly and we can visualize those things that are happening and we're moving through those things. He's seen them probably even before I put them to voice. And I'm actually putting them to voice more because this is a group setting and it's to show you guys kind of what's happening. Would I be accurate in that so far?
Yeah.
So one of the things that just came through before I went into the blah about that is that when you said something about karma, I honestly had this image of something that happened to myself a number of years ago where this person came in and they had their book, and this is in real life, this actually happened, and she went back in my timeline to see about whatever, right? And pendulum work and working with the centuries, working with the family members, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm really energetically feeling that you are so in alignment with what you just said there. Not necessarily maybe using the word karma. Karma is not something that I totally in alignment with, but if that's something that you are, then following that flow. But there is something there about past lives and what you're bringing forward.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's part of my journey to heal my past. And that's where I went next. And there's a lot of great things, but there's some things that I want to heal and release.
Okay. So with that in mind, if you were to pick a number between 1 and 10, what would that be?
It'd be 4.
4? Okay, thank you. I didn't hear you. So 4. So this is and it's so interesting because when I hear, I don't even know why I asked 1 to 10. I thought it was like centuries, but they're actually showing it's not necessarily lifetimes, but there's something about this is for whatever back, but it's not necessarily for, it could be for realms or for realities or for dimensions. It could be for 4,000, it could be 40,000. Like there's something about that 4, and also too really recognizing that 4 is foundational, right? So you even just choosing 4 is huge. And Simone got 4 generations. So there could even be in this lifetime 4 generations or whatever lifetime back. Okay, go ahead, Al.
Yeah, no, I'm getting 4, like, I would say dimensions. So it could be all the same. It could be all and none. So I have no, it's the energy we're following of the story.
Yeah. So instantly what I'm seeing is, those chocolate oranges that you thunk and you can break the pieces apart? I'm seeing this chocolate orange, but it's actually dimensions, and you're in every single one of them. Yeah. So I'm definitely getting whatever this is, or I'm at least kind of feeling into or recognizing this. What came up for you over the break? Did anything kind of drop in around this?
I'm feeling it's very strange. Like this morning when we started talking, the 3 things for people that they want to address, my energy dropped a lot, and I realized, well, I'm picking up stuff from the field, so I redirected it. And I was okay, but then going on my walk, I went for a walk for over half an hour, and I felt heavier again. And that's not normal for me. It is normal when I'm healing stuff for that to happen, but I was like, no, something's not right. And then I thought, oh, I have to tell you, it's very passive aggressive. Like there's, for example, my girlfriend, when my girlfriend, so we're no longer together, but I was sitting with her and 10 people, and we just started going out. And then the guy asked her to translate, to ask me if I'm okay going out with her because she doesn't have big breasts. And I'm like, you're fine. Like I didn't even answer the question. I said, that is not appropriate.
Yeah.
And there's so many things. And I was like, and she's like, doesn't care. But then one day I said, you're fine. I accept you as you are. And she had a big smile on her face. In other words, it does affect them. That's what I had on the break. So it's like, I never tell a woman, you look like garbage. I never say, even though they say it to me, I wouldn't say that. It's like, it doesn't give anything. And it's like, that's where, so that kind of upset me because sometimes I want to fire back the things they were saying to me, right?
Yes.
And I just kept it inside.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. So if and like this is so interesting because I mean I could just keep diving in, diving in, diving in. This could be a
Yeah.
session over the rest of the afternoon that's all about this. And it would also probably benefit everybody in on one hand. That's not what we're doing here today, though. Having said that, I am feeling the energy of a number of things that you've said. There was a thread there. Just give me a second here. It's so funny because it's like, I don't know if it's you putting up a wall, if it's your little you putting up a wall, but there's some resistance happening here because as soon as I try to go, and there's me using the word try, as soon as I feel out for the thread, it's almost like it's being pulled back rapidly. So a couple things is, are you ready to deal with this right now would be one thing, whatever this is. And also too, another piece of this that came in about a minute ago was this energy of what you said about, I wouldn't do that. So who did do that to you, but not right now? I'm talking about who did that to you as a child, right?
Oh, well, I wouldn't do that the way I was brought up right now. I mean, with kids at school, I would have said things like that. But today I wouldn't do that. But these people are my age and they're doing that.
Yeah.
And so, okay, I'll just say when I wrote the letter this morning, you said to write a letter from your kind of inner child to me. I got like 2, 3 words and that was it. So I sat there. I'm like, you got nothing to say to me? We're not going to talk much. And they're like, we're good. And just keep going. We're doing fine. Is that my wall? Because but in the chakras, I sure got a lot of information. So, and it seems like an older inner child talking to me. It's like it's a 13-year-old, and it was like a little bit angry, but it's just like, let's just continue. We're doing fine.
Okay. And wow.
Yeah.
So and when I say wow, it's like I think you recognize without me going, hey, you're not fine, because obviously like if I felt a
Oh,
wall, there's a wall there. If your little you did not want to say anything to you in a letter, I'm not saying that was right or wrong, but it's really an indication of just how short that letter was and what was said, that there is some definitive resistance to a very specific age there. And that's what I was alluding to. Is where did this happen to you, right? Like, and I'm not saying it was the school kids. I mean, this may have been, you might not even be at a memorable age. Like you could have been, let's put it this way, you could have been a chubby baby and a grandmother walked by and said something to you. Like it wouldn't be in your conscious memory, but it's in your internal memory, right?
Yeah.
So
I
there's
could,
something there.
so there is an other layer wrapped around it that is uh not happy about it. There's actually, it's more words than I thought I wrote, but I'll just say what it had. You haven't always been there for me. I've been there trying to get you to know me. I finally did when you were 30. Do not listen to the others. Listen inside. Okay.
Mm,
And when I was 30, I had my spiritual openings. So
right.
it's like I had that inner part of me that just had like split off when I was younger, but just had so much energy. So that's when I went through, and I still have it connected with me, right? So if we are to work together, see, I got conditions, not me from my inner child, we can make a difference. We can change the world. Time to let go. Time to uh something else. I don't know. I'm scared, but I see we will be okay now. Want to be fantastic everywhere.
Okay. And I want to tell you, first of all, that I really admire that you're here and yet that you've done the steps that we're doing, because it also shows that you don't necessarily, let me put this a different way. It's not you don't necessarily, it's that I'm recognizing that when one way is presenting a wall, there's another way around that wall. So that way around that wall in this case was that quick chakra exercise versus getting serious in a letter. So it's finding that way that's going to entice and bring up that little child in you so that it does feel more comfortable. Okay. And I mean, again, I could go on and on and on, and we could do a process that takes you back, et cetera, et cetera. But again, that's not the purpose of today's call per se. But at least now you know that, first of all, you on one hand, your little you, or at least a specific age of your little you. It's just like I said earlier, we don't know what age are going to show up, right? Like I've had a baby show up of myself. I've had an 8-year-old, a 13-year-old, like it just varies on what's going on. And if you've got a specific age that has a resistance to it, then you know that that's the one that you want to support in every way. Does it mean, let me get past this tongue twisting. I want to say so fast that I get caught up in my words. Does it mean that you have to hound that age to find out what's going on? No. You now have a very acute awareness that there is one aspect of your little you that wants to be loved and supported in a way that it has not felt before. And knowing that, in that awareness, the bridges, the tethers, the whatever, the cords, the journey between you two will begin to strengthen, because you've already proven, like there's no way you could do the little you chakra type of work and get the answers you got there without already having some form of trust there. So it's a continuing in the manner that you have been doing, whatever that looks like, and continuing to foster that. And before you get on a plane and go, even right now, you're setting the kind of intention that you want to bring this forward with this piece of you. And and this is a beautiful learning opportunity for you going there, because you can actually start to go, okay, what is this? Is it that it's a woman that's really bugging me? Is it that it's a man? Is it this tall? Or that, like you just really start to recognize little bits and pieces that start to hone this in even more for yourself if you don't get easy answers. Okay. That's a lot.
No, uh I just waiting to see what I should answer. I'm just like I agree with everything you're saying. There's nothing I don't agree with. I'm okay. I just it's actually when I tell people my guidance is very specific, and this is an example that I'm actually seeing where it's coming from, because it doesn't let me get away with anything. And I had to go back and retrace when I was 30, retrace my stuff and heal the things I did as a child. And it's like, this is kind of like, it's saying, okay, we're going to work together. You, you know, and I thought it was worse when I started talking to you. I thought it was worse than, like I said, I only got a couple of words, but I got a little bit more than that. It has more meaning now that we talked about it. And I'm connecting more with it as we talk about it because I look at it, look at it, look at it. It's something that I had to split off when I was 13 in order to fit in society, even though it's not like because I think I came in like most people come in very innocent and very healed, but there's parts that are not, and in order to fit in society, uh and things of loneliness, you kind of split a little bit yourself, you know, you might and I started doing that at that age. That's what I'm getting. And then by the time I was getting close to 30, I'm like, that's it. I'm only going to work on my heart. Anything that's wrong, I'm going to tell them, you know, and it's like that part started coming back, but there was a lot of yuckiness that I had to push out.
Yeah. The direction, and it's interesting because I'm like, I'm doing this with my book, and I want to ask you what came up in your throat chakra when you did the throat chakra.
Well, throat is like this. This is like sunlight, birds, happiness, soul retrieval, it said. But I just look and I see like sunlight and birds and happiness. And then I get the word the soul retrieval, so I may have to do another one. But that was like one of the, because you said your throat chakra wasn't like that.
No, my throat chakra was the Imperial margarine commercial. And it's not putting on a show per se, but really accepting who I am.
Okay, because if you don't say the truth, the energy becomes murkier like that. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. But if that's yellow, not bad. If it was black, we got a problem because then it's like it's always lying, lying, lying. It's not saying you're lying. It's just saying it'll just a little bit of cleaning up.
So are
As
you
you,
reflecting that back to me right now?
yeah.
As okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Uh,
So swinging back to you and that soul retrieval, that goes right back to what I said about the grounding piece and the generational and whatever piece it is. So whatever piece that is, it's inviting it back. Like when we do our things and we say we welcome back all the parts of ourselves, all the aspects of ourselves that are ready to come back and willing to come back. There's parts of us that haven't necessarily been ready and willing, right?
but there's a time for everything,
There
and
is.
what we're talking about now is, I say, I look at it as whose job is it, or who is it to uncover, and part of your role was to guide us through and to do what you're doing now, and part of my role was to show up and be open, and it's just like unfolds exactly like
That's
it
right.
should. So I think that dream you're saying, that's my dream too. Not that I saw a dream, but I get that's my energy too. Uh as I, until I'm in alignment, it's kind of like that a little
Yeah.
bit. Uh yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I understand that because when I say the Imperial margin commercial, first of all, do you know the Imperial margin commercial? Like wearing the crown and the whole nine
Oh,
yards.
yeah, that's old.
Yeah. So not when I wrote not putting on a show, it's like I can feel the energy of what you're saying because I feel like I'm putting on a show. I like being on here. I like being in front of people. I like all this. And it's really accepting who I am, but my accepting who I am, I can accept who I am like this, but I can't necessarily accept who I am behind the scenes.
Because everything you say is has life to it. So here in this environment, because if it didn't, I would like,
I
wait,
know.
hold on a
I know.
sec. I didn't have any of those.
Yeah.
So everything you say has truth to it, the truth that we are now,
Yes.
and that truth changes as we get closer to our alignment, but what you're saying is truth to it.
I
It's
love
the
your
truth,
ability.
and it's good truth. It's a truth I need right now.
Yeah. So let's just wind this up a little bit. You know that there's something to do with the throat, the soul retrieval piece of it, speaking your truth, you know that. You're consciously aware of a part of you that is asking to be acknowledged in a new way now. And I think that was the reason why the letter may not have come through as smoothly as you might have hoped for. And yet the chakra work seemed to be just kind of boom, 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 boom. So allowance of a different way of doing things, I guess.
Well, I mean, people get nice stories of connection, and mine, I just thought, well, there's a typical story for me. Thank you very much. And I just wrote it down and I just let it go.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is we talked about it, and I appreciate that because I like working through this stuff. It makes me happy, it makes me a better person. And I'm honored for that. I feel honored. So thank you.
I see you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See you too.
I appreciate that. You sure do. I love the way you see colors and stuff. So I just want everybody to really understand kind of like the bottom line of this is that even when we have stuff come up and we may or may not know what that is, having a place where you can talk to, like that is so powerful, so really, really powerful. And even if it's 7 different people, like you're talking to this person about this and that person about that and whatever, it's not like you're going around and telling tales out of school per se, but it's more about getting different perspectives, finding different ways of looking at things. And that's so very, very important for each of us to be doing is, I know I have a group of 7 or 8 women that we have deep conversations around stuff like this. It may not necessarily be always about one person per se, but we have conversations about the stuff that comes up when we do this work. And that's where the power actually is because we can get these other bits and clues that fall in. So really appreciate your guys' being here. Thank you. Simone, first of all, am I pronouncing your name right?
Oh, it's okay.
Well, how do you pronounce it?
When I would say it in German, it sounds different. So it's okay in that way.
I'm saying it very French.
Well, it comes from the French side, but we have a lot of names here in Germany that are coming, English, the same as French, and then typical German names. I don't have one, thankfully. I didn't get that jealous.
So
I think that was the only time I would say my mom listened what one name should be. Because my name, I got it years ago, that it is that I'm heard. God listen. And that's what no one in my life did until I started to listen to myself, you can say. And what came up is before, when we wrote that letter, what came up for me was the younger me, 15, almost 16, came up. There was something around sadness, caring for my family, so stuff that isn't mine. Okay. And interesting is in that letter, because I didn't tell her anything, I just let her be there and accepted her. And somehow she was able to let go, because in the letter she told me that she thanks me for allowing her to drop the act. Because what I did is, I took on too much responsibility, even as a child, that isn't mine. And interesting is then that connects with our, let's say, chakra journey, is in every chakra we came in and there was something. She started to clean up. Okay. And with everything, it's like the parts, you can say the first chakra, the earth dust chakra, there was something in kind of like, cleansing up. bringing the trash out, something like that. The next one where something came up was the sacral chakra. There was something in it, and it was like stones, throwing it away. The next, then, let's see, there was, in the solar plexus, there was kind of a rat. And honestly, I was just looking and she did the job. And with everything, she kind of got more in her power. More like, and then in the end, when we cleaned up everything, because with the throat, it was a choker. I wasn't allowed to speak my truth until I said enough. I think sometimes we have to be filled up until our tolerance says there is no room for tolerating anymore. Enough. And when I'm at that point, it's enough, then I'm getting into motion and putting up boundaries. Latest. So that helps a lot. And with every clearing up, even with the third eye, there was something, that thing in between. I knew it existed. I didn't know it was that pineal chakra. There was something kind of like attached over it, so it couldn't really flow. That was moved away. And it's like in the end, it was like this body has been totally cleaned up, like a sacred space. And you could see her in the end standing this like proud. Yes, we have got it. It's really, and I can feel it inside of myself that I think what happened then really shut me up. I remember from nature, I'm not a shy or silent person. But because then my voice was taken away again, I was, can say, very shy. I couldn't really speak up. I tried. Not that I get through. But with that, what was still there, despite me now cleansing up, it's like layers through all those years. It's like the rest that actually isn't mine, because it has been handed down the family. It's like, yes, the baggage is gone. I'm free.
Wow,
So
that
it's
was
really,
massive.
I can feel it. It's like really the joy is finally there because we dropped what isn't ours anyway. And I can feel it myself that really strongly. She's throwing a party.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was very impactful. I'm just feeling the energy of your little you, how you've put to voice, you really put to voice how she's feeling, and she's honoring you for that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was it's been really interesting seeing what's coming up in the heart chakras. I know Karen and Sadie were both here. Sadie, did you speak a little bit to yours? I think you did, or was it just the letter that you'd spoken to about?
My heart space, you mean?
Yeah, about the being in the chakras. Had you spoken about the chakra piece before we went for break? I don't think you did you?
No, I didn't.
Would you like to?
Yeah, so what I had was like an image of her just drawing loads of love hearts and sending those love hearts out to others. Just to connect all of life. That's what she was doing, being in her space. And I remember as a kid, I used to love drawing, and hearts was one, and I used to love drawing flowers and houses, and yeah, just being in that creative ness and being connected to the nature. I used to love being in the woods as a child, not really feeling at home or at the beach. Used to just feel, well, and I still do feel really happy when I'm in those spaces, really connected to Mother Earth, our spiritual provider of everything that we want, need, and desire. She provides it all.
I can feel the power of what you're saying in the light language too. Like that's really coming across in your light language in a very potent way.
Yeah.
And your description of your light language as well. Like it's very rare, I think, to see a written light language versus an oral light language. So that flow is still happening very naturally for you with your little your heart, and your what you're putting out there. Did you have any questions about any of your chakras specifically?
No, I didn't really. But I get what you're saying about the light language, because when I was asked this question the other day at the summit, how it makes me feel when I write light language, and I said I always feel really heartfelt, happy, and connected. I feel very alive when I'm scribing. So yeah, it's a beautiful space to be creative from, and I think my inner child loves that.
Yeah, and you're actually still are drawing hearts and flowers and houses. They're just coming across in a different way that humans are seeing it now. Because those still are, like, I could feel the energy. Like, if you look at your light language, can you actually see the house frame? It's almost like I'm seeing this geometric thing happen, right?
Shall I share it so others can see?
Sure. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Like you could, I don't know, there's just like there's this structure there, there's this flow and movement happening there that's just so very, very powerful. Yeah.
yeah, and it does dance across the page, which I love, and it just flows through so easily. I don't have to think about what I'm doing, I just do it. So it just feels very natural and authentic.
Yeah.
But yeah, showing that for others. Yeah, so it really allows me to be in my heart space when I can do that. Do I have any others that stood out? I think because we touched on the pineal, which to me is all about manifesting and bringing in abundance to live a healthier, happier life that feeds me, is what came up. And obviously I want that for everybody, but it also connects with the higher self. So yeah, and just being more grateful for everything that we have already to allow more to come through. So yeah, being in the truth of love and wisdom, and knowing and trusting.
You know, there's some really interesting energy coming up around this, and I just want to share with the whole group here. Thank you so much for sharing what you've said there, Sadie. So what's coming through is a direct, like, it's just so powerful right now, because I'm really feeling the energy of something that Sadie said there is one of the messages that is being shared, especially with very specific people here today, whether it's you or not. It's that the act of love being sent to. So I had a major incident happen in I think it was 2022. And it really blindsided me on one side. I know I was definitely an active participant in this. And on the other side of things, I was never given a chance to put to voice how I was feeling about any of this, right? And through all of that, all I could do, and it amazed me because I didn't realize that I could even do that, but all I could do in that space was send so much love to the other person. And this is the message that I'm hearing in what you've just said, Sadie, is this giving over of love to our There's no words dropping in this moment. To our accuser would be one word. It's not the right word. To our to the bully, to like, there's just so many different words that can be used here. But there's just this sense of complete love for that being, not the human being, but the being that is being encapsulated by the human body right now. Wow. Wow. Thank you, Sadie. Holy Dinah.
Yeah. Can I just share something on that? I feel, it's not easy for us, but what our biggest lesson here is to no matter what we've experienced in life, is to find forgiveness. And love is the answer that heals everything. And forgiveness is the other. So if we can forgive with an open heart, it helps to heal not only ourselves, but everybody else, and especially that the other person, because really they didn't know what they were doing, but they were giving us an opportunity of what I call is a golden nugget for us to learn and grow and experience from something, no matter how awful that experience might be. But I believe that as healers, we didn't come here for the easy ride. So we came to learn the big lessons.
And I just want to not necessarily shift perspectives, but there's something around that forgiveness and love. Like there's something there. And to me, how does this want to come through? It's almost like they're one and the same, and yet they're entirely different, love and forgiveness. And when I hear forgiveness with regards to my situation, I don't know that my human in me has even come to terms with being ready to do that, but I am so fascinated about how much love I can express out. And yeah, that's just so very unique. So I love where this topic has gone. Thank you.
So I feel like the more that you can love, the easier it becomes to find that forgiveness.
Right, because it's almost like I'm saying there's nothing to forgive. And I think that's where the human in me thinks, well, yes, there is. And yet there really isn't, because I got out of that what I needed to get out of that. So it wasn't necessarily a thing about me per se. So there's no real forgiveness needed in this case anyway, right? So yeah, thank you. Wow. I love the inner dragon stuff. And I just kind of want to point out a couple things that, like I would like you guys to kind of take that thought pattern and step of really starting to see what this kind of exploration looks like, the digging deeper looks like, and how that works with your inner child and your inner dragon. And I think what I'll do is I'm going to do something with the inner dragon, and then if you guys are open to it, I'd kind of like to share with you what I see as a really interesting turning point. And what I want to do is kind of explain what I mean by that. For those of you who know me, you know that this has been a really interesting year in my starting to understand what inner dragon is all about. And with that in mind, my things that I offer are still kind of exactly the same. However, they feel like they're richer. And I'm learning how to bring the inner dragon into that. And that's why I want to tell you a little bit about inner dragon first before I offer what I'd like to offer. And basically what I'm offering is a 6-week little a stepping stone where I get to learn how to be comfortable with this energy of offering inner dragon immersed in my stuff, but also too, it gives you guys an opportunity to step into exploring what life might look like if you were connecting with your inner dragon in a more specific manner. So I'm just going to kind of leave that with you for now.